Hello, and welcome to Save Your Sanity live stream and podcast. So, I'm really glad that you're here. I'm glad if you found us just newly, and you're so welcome. And if you're returning, delighted that you found value and you're back. I'm Dr. Rhoberta Shaler, and I am dedicated to helping people who find themselves in toxic relationships, whether that's a relationship with a parent or a partner, an ex, a sibling, coworker, friend, whatever it is. It's really important to understand the signs of being in a toxic relationship, to recognize them and know how to make good decisions and how to recover from them. So you can find information about my work if that interests you. You can go to forrelationshiphelp.com, and I'll offer that to you again later on in the show. And if you are enjoying the podcast and you're getting benefit from it, I invite you to become a Patreon. You find us at patreon.com/saveyoursanity. Patreon.com/saveyoursanity. And that's a great place to find us. So today we're going to be talking about this very important topic, going for the gotcha. Does that immediately mean something to you? Do you know that somebody does that? That somebody who really is annoying in your life seems to always go for the gotcha? And it's a big, damaging difference between verifying you and validating you. We're going to talk about that in some depth tonight and today, or this morning, or this afternoon, whenever you happen to be listening. So, going for the gotcha, the difference between verifying your partner and actually validating your partner, and whatever that partner is, whether it's your romantic partner. I'm going to be talking a lot about as though it is your life partner, but know that it applies to every relationship, because healthy adults have certain behaviors. Now, we all know about hijackals, the people that I talk about all the time, the relentlessly difficult, toxic people. And one thing for them is they always have to win. So this is very basic to their nature, because they need to have power over you, so they need to win. And what goes hand in hand with that is then they can never be blamed for anything. So therefore, everything always has to be your fault. And that's certainly one way to keep you always wondering if you are about to be broadsided, isn't it? I mean, that's definitely something that happens. And when I wrote my book, Escaping the Hijackal Trap, I took a whole chapter about the gotcha factor, how these difficult people think that they can just capture you and love bomb you and get you to do what they want you to do, or let them have power over you, rather, and take away your power and slowly whittle away at you and wear you down, tear you down, put you down. And it's sometimes a slow process, sometimes it happens quickly. I've known clients, and these are people from all over the world. I've known clients who have been left an hour after the wedding reception, and the person that they just married in that great, wonderful declaration of love didn't come back for several days, or people who were married for maybe 3 or 4 years, and they didn't want to believe that these slowly encroaching difficulties were happening. And then they kept putting up with it. So if by any chance it makes sense to you about this gotcha factor and you want to learn more about it, you can find my book, Escaping the Hijackal Trap, on Amazon. So let's jump into this, because it's so important. To verify means they want to catch you in the wrong. They want to catch you being inaccurate. And that becomes very important for you to understand that that's their operating system. That's what they want to do. these difficult people, people who are insecure perhaps, maybe they're not full-blown hijackals, but they're insecure, and the only way that they know to do is to always be right. And maybe they're not all the other things that hijackals are, and maybe they are. But if you know somebody who wants to catch you out all the time, always wants to find out that you're wrong, they're very exacting. If you just are talking about 10 minutes difference, they will call you out on it. Does that sound at all familiar? Because that definitely happens. And it's important to know that. So verify something means to make sure it is true, accurate, and justified. Now that's a big deal. Somebody who wants to verify everything. Yeah, it's great if your partner says, let me check that because they want to contribute something good to the relationship. But there are people who are just wanting to verify to make you wrong. You familiar? Does that sound like anything that's ever happened to you? And the other side of this equation is the idea about validating. And to validate means to recognize or affirm the worth of a person and their feelings and their opinions. And isn't that what you want when you go to talk to your partner or your parent or whomever? Somebody that you'd like to work something through with? You want them to hear you. You want them to be interested in your feelings or your thoughts or your wants or your needs. In an adult healthy relationship, that would happen. But if you're seeing frequently that it is not happening, then maybe it's time to wake up and smell the herbal tea and be able to say, I don't think this is a healthy relationship. I am always being verified and very seldom, if ever, validated. So that's a big step, a really big step. And the difference is that we verify facts and validate people. And we need to know that difference. We verify facts and validate people. And if you are in a close relationship with someone who is always on your case and doesn't validate you, doesn't lift you up, doesn't give you value, doesn't demonstrate that they value you or that you have worth, then look to see if you're putting up with that. Look to see if that's the thing that you're constantly feeling downtrodden about. The thing maybe you're running as fast as you can to do it right and get them to approve of you or appreciate you or even like you. But if you are just constantly being verified, this is not going to go anywhere good. It just can't. So it's important to know that. So in this whole piece here, I just want to make some very fine distinctions about these things because when someone is verifying, they're making sure or demonstrating that something is true and accurate and justified. They're wanting to get things right. But if you're with a person who wants to get things right so they can lord it over you and make you wrong, that's a big red flag. And around here, we are very, very concerned with big red flags. And if you find yourself putting on your rose-colored glasses, you whip them off so that you can see those red flags, okay? That is very important. So to verify has everything to do with accuracy and justification, but to validate is to really be able to cause a person to feel valued and worthwhile and want to do it. Want to do it. When we're in a tight relationship with someone, supposedly a loving relationship, we should want to validate them. We should want them to feel good. We should want them to know that we appreciate them, we value them, we find them worthwhile. And if we're not doing that, there's a problem. And it's very difficult to want to validate a hijackal because they demand it all the time. Aren't I doing this well? You haven't commented on how I look today. I take care of everything around here and nobody ever helps. They're always looking for validation. And if you find yourself falling into that trap, then you may be really at your wit's end. Like, I can't give anymore. There is a constant demand for me to give more, give more, give more, and I get nothing. And that is inequitable. And in episode 115, that very important episode on the 3 must-haves of a healthy relationship between adults, there must be that reciprocity. There must be. And if we think back, I'll remember this 7 habits of highly effective people. Stephen Covey, he said, seek first to understand and then to be understood. Seek first to understand. Is that what you do? Excuse me. Is that what your partner does? Does your partner lean into you, wanting to understand, looking to understand, asking you questions to help understand? Because that would be appropriate. That demonstrates love. That demonstrates caring. So important. And key to key to being able to appreciate your partner is to want to understand them, to want to lean in, to want to be curious, to want to be interested. And when we're doing that, emotional validation becomes very important because it shows that you care. It shows that you have the other person's best interest at heart. It shows support. It shows appreciation for them. And it shows that you would like to lift them up. But if the opposite is happening in your relationship, then you want to take a big note of that because it is a big red flag. It really is. So verify facts and validate people. That's something really good to remember when you're listening to how someone's speaking to you or when you're thinking about how you're speaking to another person. I want to validate people I care about. So people who verify, what do they want? Well, they have a need to be right, as I said earlier. That's very important to them, to be right, the one with the information, the one with the accurate information, the one with the proof. And then what do they want to do with that? They want to use it against you. They want to make you wrong. They want to show you how wrong you are. They want to show you how unjustified you are, show you how inaccurate you are. That's very, very important to them. That's why they're verifying. Like I said earlier, it's a whole other thing if someone says, well, let me look that up and make sure we're not going to be late. That's a whole different thing. But if somebody is just wanting to make you wrong, you know that energy. And it's very unhealthy energy. And maybe they verify because they want to prove a point. And you know how much hijackals love that you always do this and you never do this. They're always emphasizing the extremes, the all or nothing approach to things. And so when they can use facts, and they make them up. They're very good at making them up. So good that they catch you and make your head spin and you wonder, did I miss something? And in the doing of that, they grab some power. And you have to watch for that. Because the whole point that they're doing this for is to have power over you. They simply want to find that place where they can make you wrong and have power over you. That's just the wrong focus in anything that looks like love, anything that looks like support, anything that looks like equality, reciprocity, and mutuality. It's just not going to happen. It's the wrong focus. So we need to be in a relationship that's focused on validation. And what does that look like? Well, that looks like letting people know that you're there, you're present, you're focused on them, you're giving them your attention, that you're actually looking at them, making eye contact, and listening to them. They can tell that you're listening because you ask questions, you lean in, you're interested. that you fully see them, you fully hear them, you're interested, you're valuing them. That's very important. And you have a desire to understand. You're willing to take the time. You don't jump to solution for something. You're willing to take the time to understand what they feel or what they think or what's going on for them so that you can see how can you help? How can you best support them? And that's an important thing. This is emotional validation. It lets someone know that they have every right to be who they are and how they are. And you can validate without agreeing. You don't have to be in the same page. You don't have to be always agreeing about everything. But you can lean in and you can restate their point so they know that you heard it. So if I have this right, you have a real concern that I was lying to you. And I wasn't, but I really want to understand your concern. Okay, so you lean in and you ask information seeking questions like, what part of what is going on here really feels unfair to you? Now, that's a whole other feeling, isn't it, than having somebody say, "You're just unfair, and I can't do anything at all with that because I'm always the underdog around here and nobody listens to me." That's a whole different thing than having someone actually lean in, even though they don't agree with you, and say, "What part of what we're discussing feels unfair to you? I want to know. I want some more information. I want to be clear what we're talking about. I don't want to make a mistake with this conversation." And that happens. And if you do that, the other person goes, "Oh, this person is really interested. They really care." Now, when you're with a hijackal, you're not going to get that feeling, are you? I mean, even though tonight and this episode is about other people than hijackals, it's everybody. I want you to know that there are people who verify and people who validate. But I will tell you for sure that a hijackal is withholding their appreciation, withholding their approval, withholding their interest, even because that's giving you too much. It's just giving you too much, and they're not interested in that. And that's a problem, right? And validation is not just telling somebody that they're irrational or assuring them everything will be all right. Those are things that are like quick to the chase. There, I just want to sum it up for you. Let's get on with it. No, you've got to slow down because when you tell someone they're irrational or they don't have the facts or even if you tell them everything will be all right, you'll get pushback or withdrawal. They won't want to talk to you. They don't feel safe. They may not be able to say why they don't feel safe, but they don't feel safe, right? You know that because that might happen to you. When someone says to you, particularly a hijackal, they love to say these things like, well, everything you do is irrational. So why should I expect anything different? You don't feel safe. You just don't feel safe. And so there's no validation in that. None at all, because it's not helping you, and it causes you to become maybe a little passive, you give up, you don't wanna even bother talking because you're always wrong. You don't want to do anything because when you do something, it's wrong, and if you don't do something, it's wrong. So there's problems in that regard, for sure. And then you just wanna stop listening, and you just you want someone to know how you're feeling. And that you have feelings and that you're willing and open to talk about them. And another person can actually pick up on that and validate you. You bloom. It's like sunshine on a sunflower. But if somebody isn't interested in your feelings and somebody wants to make you wrong, then they're just looking to verify. And that is not going to work well at all. So it's important to know because hijackals only look for oh my goodness. Hijackals only look for validation. They don't give validation, they only look for validation. They want it all the time. Tell me I'm tell me I'm handsome, tell me I'm pretty, tell me I look good, tell me you're going to do something nice for me, tell me I'm the smartest person in the room, tell me that I'm successful. They're constantly looking for validation and even preemptively making you wrong for not offering it. So, to be safe, you need to be in a relationship where there isn't any shaming or blaming. It's just not appropriate to be in a relationship where there's constant shaming and blaming. Sure, we all slip up every now and again. That's a given. We're going to slip up. But you don't want to be in a relationship where you're constantly looking over your shoulder wondering what you're going to be blamed for. Or that if you say that there's an event at 5 o'clock on Saturday and they come back and they're screaming and yelling at you because it's at 5:30, what's the point? It's just good information. It's not some kind of weapon to hit you over the head with. But if you are with a hijackal, that's exactly what it'll be. So we're yearning to have a validation, and we want to be validated for who we are and how we feel, what we want, what we need, what we think, what we value, and we want people to be interested. And that's the reciprocal thing that we give one another in a healthy relationship. We're truly interested in each other. We truly care about each other. But if you find that that is not the case, if the other person is constantly looking to verify you, are you accurate? Are you right? Are you a waste of breath? That's never going to be healthy. So it's very important, as Stephen Covey said, seek first to understand and then to be understood. But when you're in a hijackal relationship, all bets are off that you're ever going to be understood because there is no interest in you or your needs or even the fact that you have them, and even less interest in your feelings. Sad, isn't it? But you know that. They're not interested in your feelings except if you share them and you have a tender moment with a hijackal. The next thing you know, they're going to be weaponizing those feelings and throwing them back at you. They love to do that. The next fight, they'll throw it at you. The next time you're out in public, they'll find a way to bring it up. And it's really, really nasty. So you want to take time to find out where the other person's coming from. And that's part of the validation process, that you lean in and you want to say, tell me more about that. Why do you think that? What scares you about that? What interests you about that? What result would you like to find? And like I said earlier, the hijackals have no interest. And a healthy relationship has interest, which is my point in this episode, is to realize that if you're in a relationship where it's usually verifying, you are going to be unhappy. You're going to be on edge. You're going to be getting your exercise from walking on eggshells, which is not a good idea. And a healthy relationship is validating. You want to be there for each other. And you want to get to the place where you learn to lean in, that you you engage, you don't refute each other. You actually engage with each other. And that's time consuming. And hijackals are not liking to waste their time on other people's feelings and needs. So when you want to be in a validating relationship, you engage to learn, not to refute the other person. And that brings up the fact that it's very important to learn to not go for the quick fix, to jump to a solution. Because if you jump to a solution, it's going to be a problem. And sometimes we preempt all of that and we jump to a solution, or we jump to a conclusion, or we jump in and we make assumptions. And when we make assumptions, there's a problem in that too, because we need to learn to ask questions, not make statements. If you're afraid to ask questions in your relationship, that's another big red flag. But it's important. It's important to notice, do you feel safe asking questions? Because a hijackal, a person who wants power over you, is going to make statements and assumptions. They're going to tell you how it is. They're going to do it to the point of what we call gaslighting, which gaslighting is when someone else tries to define your reality for you. They want to tell you what you think, feel, need, want, remember. That's gaslighting. They want to paint the picture of your life for you. It's very crazy making, but if it ever happens to you, you will know it in a heartbeat, because it is so difficult, and it is so crazy making, and it catches you completely off guard. So it's very important to understand what's going on. So ask questions, don't make statements, and ask yourself this question: is your partner interested in you or in being right? I'm really interested in the work of Parker J. Palmer. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's written some excellent books. And one of the books that he wrote is called A Hidden Wholeness. And in the book, A Hidden Wholeness, the subtitle is The Journey Toward an Undivided Life. Now, that may be a big read for you right now when we're just talking about the difference between verifying and validating. But I read his books long ago, and one of the things in The Hidden Wholeness that really stood out for me is this statement, and I wanted to read it to you exactly as it is. And he was talking about when you're in a circle of trust. That's an entity that he talks about a lot. And I believe that a loving relationship, a relationship that is based on partnership, is a circle of trust when there's just two people, and a family should be a circle of trust. So he said this: when you speak to me about your deepest questions, you do not want to be fixed or saved. You want to be seen and heard, to have the truth acknowledged and honored. Isn't that true? That's what you want. When you go to somebody and you are willing to be open and vulnerable, you want to feel like you're safe. And that's how you should feel in your primary relationship. It's very, very important. So you need to be with someone who's interested in you, not interested in being right. Yeah, we all like to be right. Sometimes, of course, we do. And sometimes we are right, and sometimes we're not right. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the overarching way of being. If you're with somebody who's more interested in being right than interested in you, you're going to be in a verifying rather than validating relationship. And I talked about that podcast episode number 115, and I'll just put it up for you here. Episode 115, the 3 must-haves for healthy adult relationships. That's foundational. It's so important. Go and listen to episode 115 so that you really understand that those things are true and essential. So those 3 things are equality, reciprocity, and mutuality. And when you're in a non-validating relationship, a verifying relationship, you are going to have inequity, lack of reciprocity, and no interest in mutuality. The person is going to be wanting to catch you out, wanting to make you wrong, having the wrong intention, not fully participating openly in the relationship. And that's not what you want. You really need something much better than that, right? You deserve to be treated in a way that is honest, safe, trusting, respectful, and reliable. And I write about that in Kaizen for Couples. Excuse me again. And I really invite you to have a look at that book, Kaizen for Couples. It's available for you on Amazon. And it's spelled this way here. Let me see if I can find it for you. Kaizen for FOR couples. So I'm choking on the idea of you not being validated. I hope you're choking on it too. Not literally as I am, but that you find it not something that you're willing to put up with. You don't want to be verified. You want to be validated. And this is a very important shift. So does your partner go for the gotcha? Does your partner go for making you wrong? Finding you out? Investigating you? Well, it will never work. You will never have a happy, healthy, equitable, reciprocal, or mutual relationship. And I'm here to help you. So know that you can always go to Save Your Sanity podcast and listen to all the episodes. And you can also go over and find me at forrelationshiphelp.com. But I'm Dr. Rhoberta Shaler. I look forward to talking with you again soon. And in the meantime, be very good to yourself. And if you find yourself in a relationship that is less than validating, please listen to this episode again so that you really understand that you deserve to be validated. And until we speak again, validate yourself. You are important. You matter. And take very good care of you. Talk soon.